fact, in the second quarter and third quarter, prices have been above $70 and reaching as high as $85 in the period before Q4. And that has been the major reason for the better performance we've seen last year, despite a major decline in oil prices. And this year, the oil prices have been much lower compared to last year, compared to the last year, and that has been the major importance. If you look in the stocks of BP, the last 6 months, the movement of the stocks has been very, very closely following the oil prices over the past 6 months. And this also, the other thing is the divestment. Last year there has been much better divestment that has enabled the company to attain better performance compared to this year. This year they only sold their assets in Alaska, and of course that did not help the company much to obtain better results. Also bear in mind that BP still has the issue of the Gulf of Mexico accident that it did not even include into their current cash flow. So the current payments were about $0.4 billion on a post-tax basis. That's only for the Gulf of Mexico, while the operating cash flow is $6.5 billion for the quarter, without including that billion of course cash flow for the Gulf of Mexico. So that's my analysis for the performance of BP in quarter 3. Now moving forward, I believe certainly if prices of oil continue to not to increase much, then the company certainly will need to take additional consideration and measures to enhance its resilience towards low oil prices.
On the other side, I would like to move actually to Saudi Arabia, because we have some breaking news regarding Saudi Aramco. Actually, Saudi state-owned oil giant Aramco is planning to announce the start of its long-anticipated public offering on Sunday, November 3rd. This is what Reuters reported today, citing 3 sources with direct knowledge of the matter. State broadcaster Al Arabiya reported that shares of the company will begin trading on the Tadawul, Saudi Arabia's stock exchange, on December 11th. The local outlet also said Aramco aims to announce the transaction price on November 17th with a final IPO price announcement plan for December the 4th. The kingdom kicks off its future investment initiative, an annual showcase of its investment opportunities attended by major international investors and state officials. So let's say that this is a great moment to kick off with IPO preparations. Yusef, I cannot not to ask you, are we going to see the IPO this time at the domestic market?
I believe so. Yes, it's been postponed many times, but the last postponing was due to this announcement because the company was waiting for the announcement of the Q3 financial. Certainly, the timing of the IPO is not the company's decision; it's the shareholder decision. So the Saudi government decides when the IPO will happen. So there's been talks coming from the future investment forum that is now a major investment forum happening now in Saudi Arabia, and it has brought many leading figures from policy, investment, and business. So I believe the date now is pretty much set for when the IPO will happen. So we expect the company to float, actually, the shares to be on the market in December, and the listing will be in November. So the IPO in November, and it will be on the market in December.
So you believe this is the time for real?
Well, I think so.
And can I ask you, what are your expectations in terms of market cap? Maybe 2 billion or 3 billion or 2.5?
You mean the capex for the IPO itself?
Yes.
Well, it certainly depends on number one, the shares or being listed from the company. So there is no definite figure on how much of that particular shares will be on the market. There's been some reports about it that it's going to be 5%, and some other reports saying 3%. So I believe we can wait and see on how much of that shares will be listed in order to decide on how much the caps will be, the capex.
All right, let's get to actually the IEA because it had a major warning today. Actually, according to the IEA, oil markets are expected to face excess supplies in 2020 due to a production boost amid weak demand growth. The Director of Energy Markets and Security at the International Energy Agency said today. So I just want to get back actually to the oil price and ask you, what is your opinion regarding the crude? I mean, do you think we're going to witness even lower prices exactly because of the supply and demand issue?
Regarding the IEA data, in 2020, there are a lot of things expected to happen. Number one, the IMO 2020, will come into effect, and that will cause a major impact on different crude grades demand. And the other area of uncertainty is whether there will be deepening cuts from OPEC in 2020. Currently, we are not taking this into our forecast. We think that the OPEC cuts will remain as they are throughout 2020 without deeper cuts, and a possible improvement in the demand that will enable prices to stay in equilibrium. So we do not think that prices will increase significantly in 2020. In fact, we hope that prices will not decline further as a result of demand concerns.
And are you personally bullish on the oil price and on the crude, and do you think that actually OPEC Plus, is going to, continue with this policy of output cuts in order to stabilize prices? Because certainly, I mean, they are probably looking for a price above the $60 per barrel.
Yes, but if, of course, because not all OPEC Plus members will have a fair and aggressive price on. For example, if you look at various countries will have, of course, when it comes to OPEC, they will not decide based on price only. They will make decisions based on the inventories. But when it comes to prices, because prices ultimately affect the whole decision, each member of the OPEC Plus will be content with a certain price level. But overall, prices of more than $60 should be acceptable.
All right.
And I think, yes, they will continue with the policy. Certainly, if the inventories will remain without any build-up, that will keep prices above $60, then that means they have already safeguarded the markets.
And so you will see more than 1.2 million barrels per day of I was about to say rate cut. Sorry, of an output cut for the energy market.
Not within this time. I do not see a deepening cuts at this time, but that's especially because now you see prices above $60 for Brent and above $55 for WTI. That's why I do not think that cuts will be deepened at this time, but possibly that might happen in 2020 if prices decline and inventories increase, if demand is not rising.
All right, thank you very much, Youssef Alshammari, Editor-in-Chief, CMarkits. Thank you so much for joining us.
Always a pleasure, Aleksandra.